Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. And today I've got somebody you may have seen on LinkedIn, or if you're a client of ours on the accelerator, you've probably interacted with her. She's probably kicked your butt in terms of getting your daily tasks done. I have India Henders.
Hi, guys. Nice to be on the
I,
podcast.
I am not going to lie, she is pretty nervous about coming on because I gave her no questions and said, "You're coming on." She had 24 hours notice. And I did that because I think we'll get the raw, unfiltered answers from India. Whereas if she had time to script it and plan, it would be all perfect. So thanks for coming on, India.
Thanks
And
for having me.
before we kind of get into like all things social selling, you've been with Maverick, what, 6 years, is it?
Yeah, about 5.5, 6 years now. It's
So,
gone so fast.
so what did you do like before Maverick? What was your kind of job before Maverick?
I tippled in a few industries, if I'm honest. I worked in technical support. I worked in sales and marketing, and I also worked in customer service too. So there's a few industries I tippled in.
Okay. But before you came to us, you were in social media marketing agency, new business, right? New business development.
I was the sales and marketing representative for a marketing agency.
Yeah, I bet that was fun, right?
Well, to say the least, I had to do 100 cold calls a day. It led me to absolutely despise picking the phones up. Let me just set the scene. There'll be 3 or 4 of us there. There'll be screens all above us, and it would tell us exactly the number of calls we were on throughout the whole day.
So it was like boiler room kind of sales a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was.
So you made the leap to Maverick, and we don't do the cold calling thing. You joined our business development team initially, and obviously that's a big shift from cold calling to now trying to get leads on LinkedIn. What were some of the weird or uncomfortable bits of that change?
I found it incredibly weird that I could make sales without picking the phone up. Traditionally, I always thought you'd need to either go face to face, so door knocking, cold calling, or even down to email marketing. Never in a million years would I have thought that a social media platform would be strong enough to make connections to sell until I learned it all in my business development role. And I thought, oh my God, you're telling me I can make sales, build connections, and have interesting conversations with people without having to pick a phone up. And I loved that. I thought it was just such a fantastic thing.
And was there any bits that obviously it feels a bit different in terms of I've done cold calling, absolutely hated it. So it feels better in that sense. But did it feel kind of strange? Like, I know when I talk to a lot of salespeople, there's something reassuring about making calls that is missing when you do the LinkedIn thing. Doesn't feel as productive almost.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't feel as productive because essentially it's not like you're cold calling for 8 hours a day. You're not dialing the number, you're not picking it up. You're essentially, building message campaigns and, thinking of different outreach strategies. You're videoing yourself, you're creating looms and things like that. So in terms of being more productive? Actually, no, maybe not, because you are doing a lot more with social selling, because you are using looms, you are, writing comments to people that would resonate with them and, pique the interest for them to visit your profile and asking the right questions. It's a lot more thought process, I'd say. But in terms of picking the phone up, yeah, it's different because you're not having that direct conversation. You pick the phone up and usually it's a no, 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 yes, okay.
Yeah,
And that's it.
it's almost the rejection of no or piss off if they're in a bad mood feels reassuring that you've done your job.
Absolutely. No, you're right. So like the 99 that say no, it's like, oh, okay, tick off, you're done. And then the one that says yes in the day, it's like, okay, I'll send a proposal over. And yeah, that's it. That's the productivity that you feel, but that's it.
And I guess that is, though, like, that is the reassuring bit, not to put cold calling on a pedestal or anything, but that's the reassuring bit. You do the calls and you get one yes, and you get that yes, and it's clear. Now, do they show up for the call? All of that stuff happens, but there is that. I've done a load of calls today, I'll get a yes.
Yeah,
And so
that's it.
you're basically hunting for a yes.
Absolutely.
Now you mentioned obviously you doing looms, and we teach looms to a lot of our clients. Like, you had incredible results from your looms. Do you just want to talk about what they are and what you did and how it worked out for you?
Absolutely. Loom is my favorite outreach tool. I think everyone should be using it. Whether you have confidence or not, you need to tipple into Loom. The way I like to do my Looms is I like to introduce myself at the beginning, and then I love to dive straight into giving value to this potential prospect. Then they stick around until the end of the Loom and they actually think, why is she giving me all this helpful information? What's the deal here? So they usually stick around to the end of the Loom. And the thing is, these prospects love a Loom because you've put so much effort into learning their name, their business, how many people they work with. And people just feel special almost that you've done all of this, found all of this information for them. And you send it over with a nice little note like, hey, I put this Loom together. Let me know your thoughts. And yeah, that people just love it. I had a fantastic response rate from it. I had a fantastic conversion rate from it. And it was completely worth my time. I feel I really enjoyed doing
Your
Looms.
call booking rate from looms is better than mine.
They were really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do love a Loom.
And just for those people who are like, what the hell's a loom? Maybe they've never heard of it before. Just walk us through physically what a loom is.
Of course, yeah, sorry. So a Loom is an application where you can screen share and show your little face in a circle, and you'll be able to talk over as well. So what I used to like to do is maybe do a profile review for people, and you'll have my face in the corner. You'll be able to hear my voice, and I'll just be walking them through the process of how to optimize their profile. And it is just a really great tool to get your point across easier and hyper personalize it.
Yeah. And then obviously, yeah. So, I mean, I teach it and I do them, and people are blown away by them because of the level of effort. And I think, as LinkedIn's, you've been around LinkedIn long enough, you've seen how a lot of people treat it now like it's just a way to get to people, and they just treat prospects like meat, basically. Just
Yeah, they
pitch
do.
another one, pitch another one, pitch another one. And I think when everybody's like just trying to hard sell something, that extra mile really does make a difference.
It really does. It really does make the extra difference in comparison to the copy and paste template that a lot of business owners and directors and managers get now. It really does just stand out. In the LinkedIn inbox, it comes up with just a preview of the Loom. So that naturally creates the curiosity in comparison to hi, I've noticed your business. And then it's a paragraph after paragraph. So yeah, completely stands out a lot more.
And then you moved on to our accelerator team where you're basically helping people implement. I'm curious because obviously you talk to lots and lots of people all the time. What are like the biggest pitfalls that people fall into that maybe you're kind of coaxing them out? We have the joke that India will hunt you down and make sure you get everything done.
I will.
And I mean that in a good way because clients need that accountability because they can drift really easily. But what do you see as the biggest hurdle people have to actually getting success on LinkedIn?
Probably the easiest question, Dean, because it's confidence. Our clients lack confidence with everything, even down to content. So we have clients who perhaps spend, I don't know, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours on creating content when in actual fact it should just take, maybe 30 to 45 minutes at absolute most. They take so long because they're overthinking how much information they're putting into the content, and it just portrays into their confidence of I'm overthinking it and am I doing this right? And I want to make the most perfect piece of content. And I just think in a lot of ways, it's confidence in different ways as well. It's not just content. It's down to social engagement and my comments, right? Down to hyper target prospecting. I don't know if my Loom is long enough, short enough. It's a lot of confidence where I think a lot of clients can just do with, you've done it right the first time, just go for it,
Yeah. I think that is sometimes I get stuck with that because it's like, is this the right thing to do?
Mm,
And then you kind of over engineer something to be more complicated to the point where you can't actually do it. And it's like there's a saying, do the best you can with what you have right now. And that best you can kind of changes the more you do it. Like the standard goes up. I can remember some of my first looms, they were shocking, right?
same.
And now people say to me like, Dean, you do that so naturally. Yeah, because I've done so many of them. The script is like seared into my brain.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as that completely. It took me a minute to actually learn the script. And then as soon as that script is just done, you don't talk like it's a script at that point. You know, you tailor it, but you have your baseline of you know what you're going to say. So same boat for me. Yeah.
And then just thinking about like, what would you say is the thing that people really get wrong about LinkedIn and social selling? What's the big thing that you think a lot of people miss?
I think a lot of people miss. Let me just have a think about that one because there are, with different clients, it's different answers. So if a client is really eager on perhaps doing events, you know, they miss a lot of like the point on how to get people to the event, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
which is actually really easy, but
yeah,
it's so easy, but like I don't know why that's because I've seen that one. Sometimes it's the easiest things that people fall down on.
exactly. You know, a lot of people think, oh, it's just putting an event up and it's about the way I speak. When in actual fact, it's to do it's all in the prep work and it's all in the follow up. You could be the best speaker in the world, but if you don't have the prep for your event, you're going to have no show ups. So yeah, I think, yeah, to answer your question, I'd probably say it's different for each client, but for the example, yeah, definitely events. Yeah.
And obviously, you're sharing a lot of content yourself. And I've seen you get really bold with your content over the last few years. What kind of hang-ups did you have to deal with when you started sharing content on LinkedIn?
I think my biggest concern was when I start posting actively and being more personal, I was expecting my content to go, whoosh, I've got 1 million views. When it took a lot of time. It took you know, I was being more personal. I was posting more insights on how to generate more leads on LinkedIn, you know, the stuff that people want to see. And I was expecting my views to absolutely skyrocket because I'm being, you know, doing the right things. And it didn't. And I thought that was a bit of a step back for me. And I just wasn't expecting that. But now my content, because I've been doing it consistently for say 3-4 years, my content performs very well weekly. I don't go per post anymore. I look at my stats week and I've learned what posts do really well and I've learned what posts don't do very well. So yeah.
And have you got an example of a post where you got tempted to delete it or it didn't go down as you like? Have you ever had any kind of backlash against a post or anything?
I've had a lot of backlash. In all honesty,
Really?
I look at it as if it enrages people and they comment on it, it's doing me a favor. It's pushing my post out to more people. One of the posts I posted, I contradicted myself slightly, but I did it on purpose because I wanted to see if it would ruffle any feathers. I posted a selfie and it was just a photo of me. And within the post, it said, stop trying to get attention by being vain or something like that, on the lines of. So I had about 30 comments, people enraged that I posted a selfie saying, don't be vain. And yeah, it did me a favor. My profile views looked amazing. I think I had something like 1,000 views in a week. I had that post itself got about 40,000 views. And I thought, great, look at all the people seeing my name, seeing Maverick's name. So yeah, I looked at it as a complete positive.
Yeah, I mean, everybody worries about like, what if I post this and it costs me? Like, what if I post this and people don't want to work with me because of it?
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, how can you know what people are going to do based on any given post? I've had posts that I thought were brilliant and went down like lead balloons. But I think people obsess or worry about one post destroying them in some way.
I agree completely. I mean, the way I look at it is people aren't really going to look at your yesterday's post. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, once your post is live, it's live for everyone to see. And I don't think you need to think that deep into it. A post is a post. And I feel as long as it's not really offending someone, go for it. I think it's absolutely fine.
There's something to be said, like, for being like, I know first when I started posting, I was trying to be the most appealing person I could be because I wanted business. And I realized that that was kind of being quite safe. And so there was things I would and wouldn't do because I wanted to appeal to people. And then as I've got more experience, whatever the wording is, I've kind of found like, I just have to say what I think, and people will either like what I think or they won't. And that's actually worked a bit. I'm not doing any Andrew Tate stuff on LinkedIn. Let's just be clear, right? But I am sharing what I think. And that draws people to you who like the way you think about things. Like, my post should be a filter for whether you should work with me or not. And some people will go away from my post and go in, I don't get him. And other people will go, yeah, I feel that way too. That's what you want, right? But we're
Yeah,
afraid of that.
absolutely. It's either going to resonate or it doesn't. And yeah, I think that's the way you've worded that is perfect, because people either like you or they don't. And people are either going to comment and engage or they won't. Or they'll go the other way and they will and put something nasty on your post. But again, it is what it is. It is still more people being able to view your post. And yeah, that's great.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if somebody who presented a live television show with millions of viewers decided, because of a small minority of people that may or may not dislike you, you decide not to be on national television? It's crazy that we obsess about that.
That is so true. It would never stop me from wanting to post if I had a couple of bad comments on a few posts. It really wouldn't. It really doesn't faze me, if I'm completely honest with you. And I feel a lot of people worry about that. A lot of clients worry about, what if it doesn't come across the way I want it to? It doesn't matter. You've just got to like you say, get your thoughts out there, get your perspective out there, and people will resonate with it.
Okay, so let's think about and this is something I see a lot, and I struggle with this. I spend a lot of time working with clients with this, that they generalize what they do. Like,
Mm.
they don't really get clear on what they do. And then LinkedIn doesn't work for them. That's primarily the reason people sign up for what we do, because they've tried everything on LinkedIn and it's not worked. And then they come to us, and before we get them moving on LinkedIn, we're saying, you need to clarify what you're trying to sell, who you're trying to sell it to, and why they need it. Just talk to me a little bit about your experience of, why do you think people try and generalize what they do?
I feel clients do it regularly because they don't want to specify one specific thing that they sell. They feel if they generalize it, they're selling multiple different things, and they're worried if they refine it down, they're going to lose all of the others, if that makes any sense. Actually, I have an example of a client I had recently had a meeting with, and he said, I've actually narrowed down exactly what product to sell rather than all of these different variations of this product as well. It wasn't different products or different services. It was a different variation of this one product. And he said, it's literally changed the way I'm selling now. It's changed my messaging. It's changed my outreach. And yeah, he's just a lot happier that he's now got to focus on one instead of many. And I just feel a lot of clients do it as almost like a safety net. They think the more things I have, the more likely I am to make a sale. When in actual fact, if you solely focus on one specific thing to push out and talk about, and you arrange your messaging around, people are going to resonate with that more than loads of different things.
Okay, and if you're are we going to wrap up here? But
Yeah, sure.
just one quick thing. If you were going to give somebody like 10 seconds, 15 seconds of advice on getting clients from LinkedIn, what would it be?
Good one. I think it would be lay your foundations right. So get your network growth going with the right people. Make sure your profile is fully optimized. Make sure you're blasting out a couple of pieces of content a week. Don't focus too much on it. And then make sure your outbound messaging is straight. Make sure it's exactly what you want to put across.
Awesome.
That's probably too many.
India, Yeah, but they're solid. They're solid. It's the foundations that make everything work. Often people think, oh, it's some big grand plan that's going to change everything, and actually, it's doing the basics right.
Absolutely.
Awesome, India. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for improv with me. It was brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. It was really good to be on the podcast. I appreciate it.